Aside from what I already own, I'll be making use of resources like the library. And if you're watching this and you don't own a library card, please change that today. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is 𝕬𝕚𝕚. I love to read and decided to start collecting manga and other graphic novels last year because, as a wise man once said, adults are just kids with more money. There's always been a dream of mine to own my own library since I was a kid, and I just want it filled with everything I love to read. That still very much is a huge dream of mine. And it was probably for that reason that I went a little crazy with my purchases last year. I also think there was a little bit of a frenzy I felt as a result of trying to get things while they were available, because there are a bunch of series I would like to own that are now out of print. And I've been collecting for about 8 months now, and my collection of manga only is already over 400 volumes. It probably doesn't seem like much to some, but it's a lot for me. And one thing that I've noticed is that the more you collect, the more you realize just how much you can collect. And unless you have unlimited funds to build your collection, it's nearly impossible to collect absolutely everything. The increasing prices of graphic novels and merch definitely does not make it easier. So I've been thinking about my goals for collecting this year. I usually like to have a pretty good idea of what goals will shape my decisions throughout the year. I mentioned my reading goal a little bit in my 2023 wrapped video, and in the last manga haul I uploaded in 2023 as well. But I just wanted to talk about that more while also going over my goals for collecting this year. With everything I just said in mind, I really started to think about what I want to collect right now. I would love to support a lot of mangakas whose works I love and enjoy, but there's been so many of them over the years, some of them that are now out of print and even harder to collect, and some of them that only got Japanese releases and so on and so forth. Long story short, what I'm trying to say is that I'm really tightening down on what I want my collection to look like. I want any manga reader or collector to look at my collection and have a pretty clear idea of what I enjoy, what shaped my formative years and introduction to the medium, and also just have a collection that very well reflects me as a reader. And once I came to that conclusion, it just kind of freed me from that constant need to buy something whenever I had some money to spare. Reading wise, I want to make sure I'm actually reading what I buy and not just buying them to collect dust on my shelf, which I already do a pretty good job of reading what I own. In my last manga haul, I mentioned that I would like to read 60% of my collection, which was the reading goal, but that was before I took the time to track how much of what I own I've actually read. I recently did that, and I have read 54% of my current collection. I didn't read all of that in the last 8 months. Some of them are series I've loved and enjoyed in the past, but regardless, I was expecting that number to be much lower, which was why 60% was the goal. Now that I've realized that I've read more of it, I'm going to bump my goal up a bit to at least 75%. And having that goal also forces me to buy things I either plan to read this year or something I've read and loved before. With that goal and my plan to size down my collection to include personal favorites only, I've created a collection goal for 2024. I've split my collection goal into 5 sections. The very first section of that will be to complete the series I already made a lot of progress on last year, and those will be Attack on Titan, 𝕤𝕚𝕚𝕚, and 𝕚𝕚𝕚. I was actually able to find some of the volumes of 𝕚𝕚𝕚 I was missing recently, so I only have 2 volumes to go to complete that series. I have 12 volumes to go to complete 𝕤𝕚𝕚𝕚, and with Attack on Titan, I can complete the collection today if I choose to do so. It's just that the 29 volumes or so that I've been able to collect, I have collected them all used and in pretty great condition, so I want to see if I can collect the rest of it used as well. I was going to add 𝕤𝕚𝕚𝕚 to that list because I'm only missing 7 of the volumes that have been released so far in English, but I haven't read it, and the library has the volumes I'm missing. They have all of 𝕤𝕚𝕚𝕚 on Hoopla, so buying the missing volumes is not really a priority for me. I know I want to read it, but that doesn't automatically mean that I need to own it. And since there's a way I can read it without owning it right now, I'm just going to make use of that option instead. Later in the video, I'll go over some of the options I plan to explore this year to read manga without owning them, but back to my collection goals. The second section will be out of print manga, and in that section, I'll love to collect Mars and Love Mode and 𝕤𝕚, both by the mangaka Yuki Shimizu, excuse me. This one will be a bit of a harder goal to meet since they're out of print, and I have no intention of paying the ridiculous prices some of these volumes are going for. So I'm going to take my time with collecting them. It's just a good idea to know for sure that they are titles I want to collect and just be on the lookout for them. And speaking of titles that you want to be on the lookout for, that brings me to my third section, which will be box sets. They tend to go for pretty good prices occasionally. I want the box sets for Ouran High School Host Club and Blackbird. I used to monitor Demon Slayer as well, but I'm not as attached to it, or I don't feel as strongly about it as I do the other two. I have a price tracker installed on my browser, and these box sets have been as low as 60% of the original prices. And since I've read them, I'm just biding my time for them to get that low again, maybe even lower before I buy them. Then I have a section for a series I'm already collecting and would like to make more progress on, as well as some I want to start collecting, like Haikyuu, Fruits Basket, Full Metal Alchemist, Maid-sama, Noragami now that it's complete, and just a bunch of other titles. Every series I've mentioned so far are some of my all-time favorites. Naruto and Bleach will be nice as well because they were what got me into anime, and I just have a lot of nostalgia associated with them. But they're pretty long series and I can't handle that right now, which is okay. I'll just save them for some other time. There are a bunch of other titles that fall into this section, but the ones I've mentioned are what I'll try to prioritize collecting for the most part this year. Then lastly, I have series that I've been collecting as they got released, like My Happy Marriage, In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, some BL titles, and some new to me titles here and there. For series that are completely new to me, I'll try to read them online or at the library. And if I have to buy them, I'll limit myself to buying only the first 3 volumes like I've always done. Tracking wise, these goals are not super strict, but I'll also like to be able to separate the titles I've identified from all the other ones on my wish list because I keep track of everything in a spreadsheet. So I've just made it really easy by adding a column that sorts them in order of priority, or I can always refer back to this video if I need to. So those are my goals for collecting this year and how I plan to keep track of them. For reading, I already mentioned that I would like to read 75% of my collection, but there are other series I don't own that have piqued my interest and I would love to read as well. My collection is very choppy and scattered, so there are a couple of series there that I just have the first few volumes of, so I've been doing some background work to figure out how I can read them without having to buy every single volume. Aside from what I already own, I'll be making use of resources like the library. And if you're watching this and you don't own a library card, please change that today. I have always been a huge fan of the library and I will continue to be. But between their physical catalog and what they have on Hoopla, I've already identified so many series on my TBR that I can read for free this year. I already mentioned Berserk earlier, but they also have series like Battle Angel Alita, Blame, Mob Psycho 100, Old Boy, and just a bunch of other series that I did not expect to see there. They have a good mix of old and new stuff, completed and ongoing series, so definitely make sure that you check out your library sometime soon. Another resource I'll be making use of is my Kindle Unlimited membership. Their catalog is nowhere near what the library has, but it's something and also very easily accessible for me. The last resource I'll be making use of is media platforms like Manga Plus and Viz. There are some volumes offered on both platforms for free, and even some series that you can read for the first time completely free on Manga Plus, but you can also pay a pretty reasonable price to get access to a ton of titles on both of them. And now I'm not planning to pay for them all through the year. I'm going to make a list of the series that I'm interested in reading on both platforms and basically set apart a block of time to read them, maybe like 3 months, and pay for either one of them, maybe both in those 3 months, and then get most of my reading done within that period. I'm also trying to include just a tad bit more diversity in my reading this year, because doing a wrapped review of my reading in 2023 reviewed how much my reading skewed toward certain demographics and genres. 2023 was a great and enjoyable year of reading for me, quite possibly the best in the last 5 years or so, and I plan to make 2024 just as great. My new slogan is make reading enjoyable again. You want to know the secret to enjoying what you read? Read what you like and follow the DNF rule. It's simple, I know, but you'll be shocked by how many people struggle to adapt this mentality. And I've been there, but we don't do that anymore. So diversity does not mean I'm going to force myself to read something I'm not enjoying. The goal is still to have an enjoyable year of reading. I know I want to read series like Berserk, Kingdom. Kingdom is one of those series that's hard to read without owning it. So I'm going to see how that one goes. I also want to read Akira because I'm only familiar with the movie and not the manga. I want to read Lovesick Ellie now that it's complete. Sweat and Soap, some series from the 2023 Shoujo Awards hosted by Colleen's Manga Rex here on YouTube. Definitely check that out if you love shoujo and josei, and many other series. I'm not here to bore you by listing out every single one of the titles I would like to read this year, and I'll probably talk about some of them in my videos as the year goes on. But if anyone is like super curious about them, although I doubt it, I can probably make a quick list on Google Sheets and add that to the description, or you can ask me about them in the comments. I'm also curious about what you guys are reading or what you would like to read this year. I'd love to hear about them, but that's a wrap on my reading and collecting goals for the year, which brings this video to an end. Whatever day you find yourself watching this, make it a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!